And it's going to be green light racing here at Monza. Here goes Noah. We're going to try and go wheel to wheel with the leader, Vic, once again. Back on the top step. We did say take it easy. Oh my goodness. Sinead's going to go for it here into 14, 15. Side by side. Is it going to be Mercedes or is it going to be a BMW? Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing? It's me, Mr. Flynn. We're back for round number 6. The lovely track at Brands Hatch. Looking very, very treacherous and some very wet conditions. So drivers are going to struggle with overtaking and trying to keep the car on track. We've got a total right then of 9 corners today. 9. Absolutely love that stuff. And yeah, a bit weird to see 9 turns. Normally it's, you know, 10 or 11 or 12 corners or turns, whatever you want to call it, but we've got 9 today, so obviously it's going to be a little bit interesting. But on board with today, as we've got 2 minutes and 55 seconds of free practice 2 to go, and then we'll get into the lovely qualifying session. We're on board with the wonderful Jake Spinner, car number 7 in that wonderful Ferrari. And today, as you can see, he's running a custom special livery, I would say, for Brands Hatch today. And of course, it's a lovely Stagecoach UK bus livery, and I must say, it's absolutely looking pristine indeed. So whilst he takes the opening of today's race here at Brands Hatch, let's go on board with car number 738, Mr. Alan Brown. As we know from this season, he's been very, very high performance, top-notch racing so far in the Aston Martin. It's car number 378. And, or 738, shall I say. Yeah, making his way into the second sector now. Heading towards sector 3 very, very shortly. On the exit of turn 4, you know the basics. Down to turn number 5. The half 4 bend. And then Derek Minor Straight. Some interesting names, but you know, making our way to Westfield Bend now. You know the drill, you know the corners, hopefully, if you know this track off by heart, like I don't, so I'm going to be learning for the first time for today's race for round number 6. But yeah, drivers just getting their last dose of practice in, and qualifying could be interesting as well. A wet quali, everything's just wet, no dry in the mix at all, so we'll just see what they can do. But Cumber, 738 coming around turn number 9 towards the straight to head towards turn 1 once again. He will cross the finish line, and he's going to be setting a benchmark in practice, even though his time's invalidated, I believe it was. It's a 1:31.397. Anybody else able to tackle that? We'll find out. But so far, like I said, a few more seconds, minutes of practice, and then we'll get into qualifying. We'll go on board with a few more drivers, like cars. On board with keepers then. In that lovely McLaren, going very wide though on the exit of, you know, turn 1, shall we say. Or shall I say, sorry, turn 2. Towards turn 3. It's a bit of an interesting track because some corners you've got to be quite narrow for, some corners you've got to go wide for. So it's a little bit of left, right, centre. Where'd you go? Where'd you bounce? Hey ha, if you know what I mean. So yeah, turn 4 now, round the bend. And then also he's going to make his way to turn number 5 and 6 very, very shortly. The double right-handers, as I like to call it, at every circuit. But I'm liking the top-notch sponsors, you know. You've got a bit of velocity on there, Vanguard Racing. Got the Pringles logo on there. You know, who doesn't love Pringles? I certainly most do myself. Practice is done, though. So the drivers going to be finishing their final practice laps, and then we'll get into a qualifying session. But yeah, we've got lots to talk about today, I must say, chat. You know, we've got a very close championship fight, as we see a lovely drift there from Keepers himself, managing to keep the car all together and on the track. You can see it's very, very tricky, like him just losing the rear end, somehow saving it though. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, like I was saying, we've got a very close championship fight, and the constructors, they're close, but they're not as close. So yeah. Anyways, Keepers comes across the line as my game has frozen. Never mind, it was loading into the next session. My goodness. Bit worried there for a second. And race control confirming that a quali ban to, of course, Jake Spinner. Unfortunate there, but it is what it is. And he's got a server quali ban for this race. Right then, let's go on board with, I guess, Alan Brown again. He was, you know, featured in the practice session a few mementos ago, and now he's featuring with 19 minutes of qualifying to go, leading the pack around the first couple of corners in sector 1 and taking it nice and easy, getting the brakes up to temperature, getting the tyres into optimal grip range so they kind of stick to the track even though it's kind of wet. So yeah, we're going to see how aggressive some drivers are going to be today, but like I say, we're just playing the patient game now, waiting for all the GT3s to make their way around the track to start their first lap. We might get a few invalidations. That wouldn't surprise me at all. We're probably going to see drivers fueled up for more than one lap, so we could see a push lap, another push lap, and then a cool down lap. We could see a push, cool down, push, cool down. Whatever the drivers want to do, they'll probably overfuel just a bit to get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, how many laps they want to do in, so they can find the best lap time on the track. So as we see currently on the leaderboard, he's currently chilling, Mr. Brown, in P7, but as he makes his way out of turn number 9, heading towards turn 1 very, very shortly, he'll start his provisional lap time at Brands Hatch, heading towards turn 1, known as Paddock Hill Bends, and then to turn 2 and 3 very, very shortly, keeping the car on edge. And somehow I thought that would have been invalidated, but it's within track limits, so Alan Brown very lucky to get away with that one. Now heading towards turn number 3 and heading on to the Copper Straight towards turn number 4. You can see that drivers aren't really putting the throttle down as much as they want to, obviously because it's very, very wet and grip isn't there, so just taking it nice and easy for their first lap or two. So far, you know, on board with Alan Brown. Not any major mistakes there. As we've got car number 929. He's had a moment at the start and finish on the exit of 9 down to turn 1, so his lap time will be very low and not as great because he's had that spin. So his tyres will be too hot for these wet conditions. Of course, you want your wet tyres to be in the most optimal range as you possibly can. You don't want them too cold, you don't want them overheating, you just want them about right. Anyways, heading towards turn number 8 now, towards number 9. We're going to see what the benchmark is at the moment for Mr. Alan Brown, rounding the final corner, making sure he doesn't go too wide. I might have clipped the grass there just a little bit, but as he crosses the line now, it is going to be a 1 minute 31.392. Ousby now crossing the line. He's going to do a benchmark in that Ferrari. He goes on pole actually, a 1 minute 30 point, I believe it was 732. But Ackerman somehow crosses the line. He does a 1 minute 30.417. So Ackerman, after not being on pole position or near the front of the field for the last 2 or 3 races, I believe, he found himself on pole, but he now slips down to P2 as Julian's actually crossed the line in that Lamborghini, drifting there and probably smacking the barrier, and he does indeed. Big damage there from the Lamborghini. Is on pole though, a 1 minute 30.287. So not too bad, if I say so myself. Arc down in P4. He's done a lap time of 1 minute 31 bang on. So yeah, I know, Jake, you know, you're just chilling in the pit lane, you know, with your wonderful Stagecoach UK bus livery. Unfortunately for you, you have a quali band, so it's not the best of things in the world, shall I say, but hey, I get to show off the lovely you know, livery to the lovely stream. So I don't think you're complaining, I don't think the stream's complaining. Everybody is very happy. I don't know why my game keeps freezing so much. I'm not too sure why. But we're on board now with Lucas, car number 999, and he's in the Nissan. And I'm a bit surprised he is in the Nissan because, as we know, the Nissan is a very tough cookie of a car to really drive because the back end, the front end, everything about the car is just really horrible. And it almost feels like you have no grip in dry conditions. I have no idea how the car feels in wet. As you see there, his back end wanting to slide out. So you're probably thinking he's not having the best time of his life. He is currently on a push lap though, and he's up by his delta by around about 0.3 of a second, which could set him up the field into the top 5, potential top 3 on here, and it's going to be top 4. 1 minute 30.755. We had a few more drivers before that crossed the line, and it was Ackerman going straight back to P1, and he's done a 1 minute 30.275. Go on board at Ousby though, and he's up on his delta by somewhat of a mile or a margin, you could say. And yeah, so in a bit we'll get into the championship standings because it's all looking very close. So that'll be when everyone's probably got a lap in or two, and obviously the same drivers doing the lap. We won't commentate over too much because there's a lot of information I need to get done before we get into the main race today. And look at that, first and second separated by 12 thousandths of a second. That's crazy. As Julian crossed the line just a few moments ago, a 1 minute 30.287. But enough of that. Ousby now crossing the line. Where is he going to go? As Brown goes to third, very close to the top 3, shall we say. And he goes to P1. There it is. He's back on pole. It's a oh, never mind. It was a 1 minute 30.147. And then Ackerman has just completely taken it away, using Ousby for advantage of a bit of a tow. And he's done a 1 minute 29.695. Is anybody on circuit right now going to be able to compete with that? Canton denies pole for now, slotting up to P2, but knocks obviously Ousby down to P3, but he's done a 1 minute 29.987. 2 drivers in the 29s. Canton could be on here to steal pole position away from Ackerman with 12 minutes of qualifying to produce here. And we've got car number 929 down in P10, crossing the line in a few moments time in that lovely Ferrari. He's going to go 2. Never mind. It looks like he invalidated, so obviously his lap time won't count, and he'll stay P10 for now. What an arc, shall we? See how he's getting on. It's a bit of a tough season, I'd say. So, heading towards, obviously, turn number 8, towards turn number 9. He's around about, what, 4 tenths up on his provisional lap time. 7 tenths within P1, so could he extend his advantage and get into the top 5? Let's see what he can do. He does indeed. Instead of going P5, he goes to P4. A 1 minute 30.110. Ousby as well going P2. A 1 minute 29.840. Not letting this one go. That's now 3 drivers in the 29s. Absolutely crazy. As we see Julian in that Lamborghini struggling slightly, taking a void of action almost on the grass, but half a car on the grass, which wasn't ideal, so he might have lost a little bit of lap time there, or quite a bit. Depends how aggressive he was on throttle, because that was quite risky, because he could have spun the car around and that would have been his qualifying lap done. But so far he's up by quite a margin actually, and it looks like at the way it's going it could be enough to take pole position. Drifting out of turn number 9 towards now, as we see him about to cross the line towards turn 1, it's going to be pole position. It's a 29.677. 1 and 2 separated by 18 thousandths of a second. That is mega and absolutely crazy. Car number 29, Ousby, getting a tow, or getting fairly close to the McLaren ahead of them. And that would be Keepers down in P9. He's now started lap time as he lets Ousby by, so that was him done with his lap time probably. I'm going to go into the pit lane, return to the garage, or do a cool down lap and do another one potentially. Ousby trying to find more pace on the track, trying to find more time, praying that it doesn't get much wetter as it already is, because if it does, that could be the advantage to qualifying over. But now, with it all chilling out and going smooth sail, shall we say, let's have a look at the standings for the championship, because I tell you what, chat, it is looking fairly close this season. It was more as well like last season, but substantially even more close. So we're going to keep on board with Ousby. We'll switch to some other drivers as well on the circuit, and we'll just go from there. So as we're on board with Ousby, as car number 37 has stopped down at turn number 1, but has returned to the pit lane, thank goodness. I'm going to go on board with Ousby still and have a look at the standings. So as we're watching him now, he has a championship lead of 185 points. Ackerman down in P2, separated by 1 point, so he's on 184. David, known as Canton, on 182 points. And then Julian is in P4 on 179 points. It is so close between the top 4. It's absolutely unbelievable. So they have got to make sure no mistakes happen today for them in the main race of an hour of Brands Hatch. Mandatory pit stop is required though, so make sure to box so you can get a bit more fuel, because that is mandatory and you need to do that. You don't have to change tyres. In my opinion, I think you should, because I believe tyre deg at this track is very high. But of course, it's up to the drivers. They do what they want to do. I'm just here to commentate, sit, relax, and just chill, and see if anybody else on circuit is improving on the lap time. And we're going to go on board with car number 8, and we're going to make our way now to the championship standings of ACC. So let's have a look, shall we? As we can see at the moment, we have Team Rocket dominating after round 5 and still extending their gap by quite some margin on 267 points, with Italian Stallions in P2 on 204 points, and then Garage 3.1 in P3 on 112 points. So P1 and P2, not separated by much, but it could be Team Rocket to take the champion potentially towards the end of the season. There is a bit of a fight between P4 and P4 and P5. There's a good fight there, but we'll see how that unfolds. Not P4, sorry, that's P3 and P4. There we go. I got there in the end, chat. I got there in the end, but that's a close fight. They're only separated by what? I think it's 7 points. So that'd be nice to watch as back to the race packing action. Ackerman in the pit lane. He's P2 at the moment. 129.695 or 95, and he's 43 thousandths off of P2. So he's found a little bit of lap time, but unfortunately isn't enough. Back on board with the lovely Nissan down in P6. He's making his way through Sector 1 to the double right-handers now. And that's going to be turns number 5 and 6. Towards Sector 3 he goes. Got on board with a better camera angle. And he'll make his way to turn 7 and turn 8 fairly shortly. Does cut the track there a little bit and does unfortunately invalidate and go off tracks. So the lap time done and dusted. And we're going to go on board now with the Porsche car number 8, currently slotting into P10, 5/10 up on their Delta. They're going to come around at turn number 9 very, very shortly, complete the lap time, and they could see an extended margin to their provisional spot of where they are at the moment, which is P10. This is the only track where my lap time pace isn't crap. I've got myself a quali ban. I know, you told me so many times, but yeah, it is unfortunate, buddy. It is unfortunate as he's gone P8. He's done a 130.432, but hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right here. Oosby's on pole. He's done a 129.530 with 5 minutes of qualifying to go. He sticks it on pole position. Is Julian, though, going to be able to respond? Take it away once again here at Brands. Round number 6. Stay tuned. Qualifying is getting tense. Very, very tense right now. Go on board at Arc, now starting their lap time into turns number 2 towards turn 3 very, very shortly. I say that and they spun the car. They spun it round. Car number 94 has to slow down a little bit. They can't use the apex at the moment because obviously Arc is stranded there at the moment, but he's managed to get himself going and keep it nice and safe and not cause any major crashes. It did look like, though, he got stuck, which isn't ideal, but managed to get himself unstuck. But, you know, Brands, it could be one of those circuits. It could be one of those. On board of Oosby, who took pole just a few moments ago, he's going to go for another push laps, as he does. We're going to go on board with Lucas in the Nissan, coming down towards turn number 2, towards turn 3, very, very shortly. Let's see how they contend. The Nissan has been very competitive this season, but he finds himself in P6, 6/10 away from P1. Is he going to be able to find the lap time he needs to make his way up the grid just a little bit more? Right then, see what he can do. Making his way out the double right-handers towards turn number 7 we go. Known as Dingledale corner, and then the Sterling's bend of turn number 8 towards turn number 9. The final corner here at the circuit of Brands Hatch. We saw actually car number 29 around at turn 2. The Nissan, however, going offline, going on the grass, and returning to garage. So I'm not too sure what's happened there. We'll go on board with Julian, however. in P2 once again. Saying that, we're going to switch to Joe Kelly, rounding the final corner. Currently in P9, was up on their delta, but I believe they lost it coming out of turn number 8. Through turn 9, however, they found a little bit, not much though, and unfortunately, they're down on the delta, but they're going to go again. They're going to see if they can find a little bit more pace, but they're going to return to the garage instead, and that could be their qualifying session over. Julian quite far down on their delta at the moment, so they're not improving. I'm not seeing many improvements actually on my screen right now. Not sure why, but we're going to go on board with car number 786 in that Ferrari, and see how he gets on. A nice, plain, simple livery, which I love to see. Making his way though through turn number 3, but unfortunately does exceed track limits, which means it's going to be an unfortunate cut, and a result of that is a invalidation. So we're going to go on board with Brown now in the Aston Martin, making their way down to turns 1, and then turn 2, and then towards turn 3 very, very shortly. And so far, obviously, we did our first provisional lap time with Brown to set the benchmark. Excuse me. And his benchmark wasn't too shabby, it wasn't too bad, but can he get himself in the top 3? In doing so, he's got to find 3 to 4 tenths to even make his way into the 129s. Anyways, making his way now to the double right-handers of 5 and 6. Coming towards the end of Sector 3 now. In Sector 1, this is where you want to really nail the corners to 110%. Be brave on the throttle. Trust the car a little bit more, even though the grip isn't optimized for pushing standards, as it's quite wet at the moment. But try and put faith in the car. Hope it sticks. He's down on his delta by quite a bit, but with 20 seconds remaining, if he's got the fuel to do it, he has one more solid chance to get a lap here at Brands and make his way up the grid order, maybe a little bit more. Anyways then, the Nissan doing the exact same thing, coming through the double right-handers of 5 and 6, coming towards the end of Sector 2, towards Sector 3 we go. He was up on his delta by a tenth, a thousandth of a second, but now he finds himself down on his delta and not really improving by much because it's not really changing as he's making his way through at turn number 6 towards turn 7, and yeah, unfortunately that's going to result in a spin, and that's his qualifying and done and dusted. Brown up on his delta by not much, but it is an improvement, which every improvement does count here at Brands. And car number 786 making their way through turn number 8 now, and they're up by a second, so they could find themselves, unfortunately, not improving on position. They're improving on lap time, but being 4 seconds off the pace from P11 down to up to P1, being within a second, he'll just be saying at P12, unfortunately. Right then, on board of Brown still, in Sector 3 now, kind of munching away on the grass there. Definitely not ideal, and definitely not what you want to do, because in doing so, he is way off the delta, way off the pace, and that'll be his qualifying done, to be honest. So, unfortunate there, but it does happen, and he's going to make his way into the pit lane. And it looks like my game is frozen again, but that means session is done. It's all sorted. We can't click drive just yet. That's annoying me. But there we go. Qualifying done. Ousby takes pole at 29.530. Julian slots into P2 at 29.652. And then Ackerman finishing it off. He thought he had pole position going into the early moments of qualifying, but towards the end, Ousby stolen it from him. Julian was unable to put the benchmark and get pole this time out. But Ackerman will be disappointed with not having pole, but starting P3 at 29.695. It's okay, but how will he do in the race with it being completely wet? That is going to be the interesting part, which of course we're going to stay tuned for and want to know.
Alright, there's some rain session, so watch out for slippery curves and remember to brake earlier.
As you heard there, from my lovely race control app in game, it's very slippery out there. Make sure to get careful, and of course, don't touch the curbs because they're going to be quite wet, and it could result in your car doing a bit of a 360. So, yeah, don't be doing that. Pretty please. But of course, we're going to go on board with the lovely Jakob again. Where is he? He is in P14 after serving a quali ban. And you can see there. Look at that stagecoach livery. Oh, look at that. It looks brilliant, doesn't it, on stream? Close up. We get another angle shot of the car. Excuse me. There it is. Look at that. See the marshal in the background holding a yellow flag. One step ahead of his job. Which of course is a very good sign. But yeah, we've got around about 3 minutes and 30 seconds till we begin, chat. So of course, as I always do, please make sure you keep yourself hydrated, get a snack, get whatever you want, get nice and comfy. We've got a long 1 hour of racing action to begin here at Brands, and in doing so, I'm going to show you a very quick promotional video made by the wonderful Shanae. So don't go anywhere, and I'll be back in literally 30 seconds time. Ka-chow.
And it's going to be green light racing here at Monza. Here goes Noah. We're going to try and go wheel to wheel with the leader. Vic once again back on the top step. We did say take it easy. Oh my goodness. Shanae's going to go for it here into 14, 15. Side by side. Is it going to be Mercedes or is it going to be a BMW?
There we go. We're back. You know what, chap? I never thought looking at Julian's car on the right hand side. You got to love this game. Obviously, he hasn't clicked drive yet, so in doing so, his car is levitating. Vibing in the air right now. One wheel or two wheels being crushed by this force of the suspension, and the other two just like, yeah, just chilling, mate. Don't mind me. Just vibing up in the air here. You know. It's not too bad. Ah. Don't worry, chat. We're going to get some racing action soon. Okay then, probably time to get ready, because obviously we're going to get a full formation lap around the lovely circuit, so the drivers will get time to warm their brakes up, warm their tyres up, and then set sail for a mad 1 hour of racing around this circuit, which isn't bad for racing. Here we go then. They're making their way now through the first couple of corners. There they go, zooming by. We love to see it, Chip. So obviously all of them in a single formation line. 14 cars on the grid today. What I'm most excited for is Oosby going to be able to maintain the lead when we make our way up the final corner towards turn 1? Will Julian be able to maintain P2? And can Ackerman obviously maintain P3? But is he able to go for P2 at the start of the race? Potentially, even if he gets lucky, a chance to fight for P1 at turn 1 if he goes late on the brakes. That is what we want to find out. And that is what I would like to know as well. So, stay up to date, stay tuned. It is going to be exciting. All the drivers, of course, make their way now through the double right-handers. You can see the snake train, car 7 at the back of that train, making his way through turn number 6, and will make his way to turn number 7 very, very shortly. But once Oosby, I think it's when he gets to turn number 8, it will say line up in double file, or it might be the exit or the entrance to turn 9. No, it's here. Is it? Yeah. So now it's saying please get in a double formation, which they're doing. They're all respecting, which we love to see. So, here we go then. Oosby rounding turn number 9 here at the lovely circuit of Brands Hatch for round 6 today. Here with the lovely ACC lot. Is he going to be able to contend and keep the championship fight alive, extend his advantage? If he entails and keeps P1 down at turn 1, it's going to be green flag racing very, very shortly. And it's going to be, as always, lights out. And away we go for round 6 here at the lovely track of Brands Hatch. It looks like that Julian has got the better launch than Oosby. Down into turn 1 now, towards turn 2. It's side by side for the Lamborghini and the Ferrari. The Ferrari, however, has made slight contact with Oosby, which might promote Ackerman up into P2, because Ackerman and Julian in the background, they're going to be squabbling for position and fighting for P2, but Julian able to defend that off for now and keep Ackerman at bay for P3. The Nissan, though, getting involved now with some racing action, trying to go wheel to wheel with the driver of Ackerman, but is unable to. Oosby now advancing by a second now, which is going to help him out just a little bit. It's all crazy on lap number 1. Jake making his way up into P12 after serving that quali ban. He's made up, I believe that's 2 positions, so he's had a good start so far. He'll be hoping to make up a few more if he can. Fingers crossed. Go on board with keepers now, literally almost glued and sniffing the rear wing of that Porsche. We go on board with the Porsche actually and go on board with the wing cam, which has been very popular this season, and lots of people have been saying they want to see it. So on board with the Porsche now. Keeping the McLaren for now at bay, making their way through turn number 9 towards the fancy turn number 1. The Porsche having a bit of a moment there, and that could actually open the door for the McLaren. Heading towards turn number 1 now. Is the McLaren going to get enough straight line speed and going to be brave on the brakes in wet conditions to go for the dive? He thinks better off not, and he'll defend his position for now, but does go a little bit wide and touch the gravel on that off-track, shall we say, moments, and he defends his position for now as well. And gaps are now starting to open up quite a bit. Arc up in P6, that's now opening up to 1 second. Somehow Julian has magicked up some pace and close the gap down to Oosby. They're separated by only 7/10 of a second. Jake Spinner down in P12. That's 5/10 that separate himself and P11. It's all going off, chat. It's all going off. But P1 down to P14. They would like to be in good positions. They don't need to fight too hard, obviously, because everyone here is going to be scoring points today, as there's only 14 drivers on the grid. I believe the point system doesn't change when the attendance is low. Fingers crossed. But if it does, then rip. I don't think it does. I think it stays the same as it normally was, so fingers crossed on that one. On board with Canton right now, car number 94, making his way now at turn number 9. He is, what, 3/10 behind the Nissan. The Nissan has dropped back just a few tenths to Ackerman ahead, so it looks like he could be struggling in these conditions and struggling with the car himself. As we saw in qualifying, he kept losing that back end quite substantially a bit. And oh, someone's taken a bollard with them on the exit of turn number 1. I believe that was actually, looking back at the replay on the stream, I believe that was Canton taking the bollard with him. So there you go. He wants a present. He wants to show that he's not messing around today, and is tearing the track up piece by piece. Right then. So obviously, race conditions, not much going to be happening for the next few minutes, I would presume, because obviously everyone's just getting used to the grip levels, trying to find pace, trying to get as close as they can, as we see Ackerman in P3 flashing the Lamborghini there of Julian, trying to distract him a little bit so he can hope the Lamborghini makes a little bit of a mistake, flashes lights, and get himself into P2. But so far, it looks like the Lamborghini isn't going anywhere. It looks like he's staying right where he wants to be, and obviously they're only separated by 3/10 of a second. And towards the front of the field, Oosby not really running away as you'd probably want to, but they're separated by, what, 1.2 of a second. Ackerman, however, making his way now at turn number 9 in that McLaren. Car 23 isn't close enough to, of course, make a move into turn 1, unfortunately. And he's going to set up A for now and wait for an opportunity to open up. Right. I mean, Jake Spinner down in P12. He said in the Twitch chat, and has said to me all day, in and out, that his pace-wise is not going to be great. And he finds himself, obviously, still in P12. Was staying with the cars ahead of him, but unfortunately... Oh, no, mind, he's made his way up into P11, as I believe that's Alan Brown. Car number 786 is not Alan Brown, but I don't know why I thought that. I believe it's called the delivery. No, it is Alan Brown. Yes, sorry, that is Alan Brown round at turn number 3. I'm just getting myself a little bit muddled up. I believe it was turn 4, actually. My apologies on that one. And he finds himself down in P12 after having a very good qualifying session. Jake Spinner now finds himself up into P11, 7/10 away from P10, who's 1.5 away from P9. So we'll see if we can get a race replay, because I'd love to know what on earth happened there. So we're on board with 738, and it looks like, unfortunately, there is no race replay at this moment in time. We could, however, go on board with the race start, I think this is, if the replay wants to load. There we go. Oh no, it's Alan Brown. Never mind, we've got Alan Brown involved in this one. So oh my goodness, there was a bit of budgie contact going on there, just a little bit. Just a bit of contact as we were running on board there, actually, with Alan Brown. So yeah, not ideal. Drivers getting a bit tetchy and a bit aggressive, and it's only lap 1 of racing at this lovely circuit. Gaps are really starting to open up now. The field is like majorly starting to spread out, which means we're going to start seeing little battles happening. As we can see, Joe Kelly, they're fighting for P number 8. Kelly trying to be brave and go late on the brakes, but unable to do so, and he stays behind that McLaren just one lap longer. Even though they're only down in Sector 3, Kelly was looking for a move there, but was unable to get it done. Right. There's Spinner in the background, chasing down Falzetti for P10. And then we're on board with Ark, who's... Oh, not Ark, sorry. We're on board with Ark's teammate, we could say that. Joe Kelly, down in P9, trying to fight for P8. But Keeper's now starting to extend his gap advantage. And looks like he's actually pushing a little bit more than he was earlier. And trying to probably fight now for P7 this race. So we will see how they get on, making their way down the massive straight of Hawthorne Hill. Now obviously entered the double right-handers, coming towards the end of the Westfield bends of turn 6, down to turn number 7 we go. And yeah, Joe Kelly starting to slow down on the pace now, and I don't think he'll be happy with that one, because he was looking quite urgy to get that move done, but an unsuccessful overtake. They find themselves staying in P number 9. Right then. Move towards Keepers. Looking like he's quite closer to get a move done on the Porsche. Into turn number 1 we go. Alzheimer is unable to get the move done. Does go a little bit wide. Uses some of the runoff, shall we say, as oh my goodness there. That was Falzetti going very, very wide as well. Down into turn number 1 towards turn number 2. Now making our way to turn number 3. Keepers really piling the pressure on the Porsche of car number 8. If the Porsche makes one mistake, that is P8 done and dusted and gone out the window for him. But we're going to go aboard with Frederick, which is actually had contact with the man himself, Ackerman. Those two dropping down the field to P12 and P10. Oh my goodness, what on earth has happened there? Jake Spinner now finds himself up in P9, Brown up in P11. That is definitely not ideal. Brown actually fighting Ackerman for this one for P10, also almost making contact. Very, very close. We're going to get a race replay, because what on earth happened there, I do not know. Because we were on board of Keepers, who was getting so close to the rear end of that Porsche. May look for a move going out of turn 9. We'll go on board with the Porsche again and go on board with the wing cam and see what the straight line speed advantage is like on the McLaren. Making their way down to turn number 1, the Porsche will pull to the left hand side for now. Look at the McLaren, look how confident he is on the throttle. Is he going to go for the left or the right? He's looking to the left, he's looking to the left. The Porsche giving just enough space. And I believe that is going to be Kelly in the background trying to capitalise and get past Keepers, but is unable to get that move done. Just can't find the momentum and can't find the grip. Hello, Lily. Altosis versus the Nissan. We can indeed. Let me have a look at that quick race replay. Let's see what happened. So, coming out of the corner, heading into another corner. Oh, that's what it was. Heading towards turn 4. Have another look at that. You could just see on board with 23. Nissan goes down the inside and just taps the rear end of Ackerman. And that is not good for them. However, Ackerman in P9, I think Jake Spinner's actually had a moment, because he's all the way down in P12, so he might have had a spin or gone off track, and that's definitely not ideal for the Ferrari driver himself. But Ackerman trying to find ground, trying to find his feet again in P9, not where he wants to be. He wants to be where Oosby is, still in P1, Julian in P2, Canton after that, Contact promoted to P3. Ackerman's trying to close down, but unfortunately he can't because he's got a very fast Alan Brown behind him, wanting that P9 off Ackerman. We might see these two work together, but with 47 minutes of racing to go, there's still a lot of action to happen at Brands. But that was big woes, a big change in the championship fight. Ackerman needs to score as many points as he possibly can to keep this championship at stake, at high, and everything else. Got aboard of keepers now, because unfortunately, obviously they've all been promoted up a position, higher up on the grid. But surprisingly, Joe Kelly has managed to find his way around keepers, take away P6, and now he's going to try and capitalise on that and get on top of the Porsche and try and get around the Porsche somehow for P5. We'll go on board with the Porsche, see what his exits and corner exits are like. And they look good for now, because at the moment, got aboard of Kelly, got on that lovely wing cam. You can see the straight line speed difference. The McLaren was already gaining just a little bit in turn number 8 towards turn 9, but now heading towards turn 1. Never mind, it looks like Kelly's straight line speed is a little bit more better. Keepers though, right on the gearbox here. He's going a little bit wide. He's going to try and go around the outside if he possibly can, but does go a little bit wide, almost loses the car, manages to save it, and by touching the gravel just a little bit there, that will just obviously slow him down a bit, unbalance their car. Definitely not ideal. So right now we've got keepers versus Kelly. We've got Brown versus Ackerman. That's happening. In the background, you've got Felzetti amongst all of this in P8, just watching the fight in front, and surprisingly, the fight behind. But I'm hoping they're not looking behind, because they should be looking on where they're going on the track. But all seems to be well so far. Oh, here we go. Keepers on Kelly. Keepers up the inside at turn 1. Gets the move done. Kelly tried to go for the switchback, but was unable to. That got perilously close. But somehow, at somewhat, hardly no grip, the McLaren, or should I say, yes, the McLaren finds his way into P6. And, I believe that is going to be Kelly down to P7 now. After all that brewing of fighting, Kelly could actually get the switchback here as the McLaren went a little bit wide. But like I said, with all that brewing going on and that fighting going on, we have now got, that is Felzetti in the background, capitalising on that and trying to wait for them to fight a bit more, go for an audacious move. We'll find out. It's all getting spicy at the back of the grid, the front of the grid. They're just gone. They are literally in a race of their own. I can see there Felzetti getting a very good exit coming out of turn 9 as well, of getting a good exit out of turn 7, because he was like gaining quite a bit on Kelly, but isn't going to gain enough to get the move done. The Nissan in the background though, as we look forward back to those two, that is Lucas trying to find his way around Alan Brown. Alan Brown doing some stellar defending off the Nissan for now, who's quite rapid around this track, but he's not so rapid when it comes to involved contact with himself and Autosis, spinning them both round, but himself in P11, Ackerman in P9, just waiting for the action to unfold, saying that he's 2 tenths now off Felzetti. Felzetti's around about 7 tenths, and then the drivers ahead of them only separated by 4 tenths of a second. It is all going on, and it's absolutely crazy. Look how close Ackerman is to the rear wing. He's going to pull to the right-hand side of the Aston Martin, try and go late on the brakes, pulls back in and says, you know what, I'm not going to go late on the brakes there. Now, in Sector 3, now into the double right-handers, and which way is the McLaren going to go? Which way is the Aston Martin going to go? He's going to go wide. Off the track he goes. That's a free position to Ackerman, and that could allow the drivers behind Felzetti now, which is Lucas, and of course Alan Brown, to capitalise and get once again another free position. There's Brown, Felzetti ahead of him. Is there going to be any position changes? As we see the Nissan get an audacious exit, almost losing the back of the car, but went a little bit risky and wanted a good exit, and unfortunately not a great exit there. Was close enough out of turn 8 towards turn 9 to probably go for a dive. Obviously these drivers aren't silly, they won't go for a silly dive from out of nowhere, because obviously they like to keep it nice and clean on the circuit. But the Nissan, you can see they're drifting, having its moments, losing the car. It's not stable. Matter of fact, it don't want to be stable. You want to go slidey as we see Bollard there on the track. Someone has now decided to take the other Bollard out, which obviously isn't ideal. But I mean, whatever floats your boat, doesn't it? But we're going to go back on board of Ackerman, who is not far off of keepers here, going for an audacious move now. Blue flags. Oh no! Ackerman was going to go for a move there on keepers, but the blue flag driver got in the way. Oh my goodness, that could have been big woes, big blows. Luckily, they all made it past the lap car cleanly. Going down to Alan Brown. Is he going to try and capitalise on this? And oh, the Nissan going through. Alan Brown trying to go through. Alan Brown, what is going on with him as Zane goes off the track? Oh my goodness, it's all going on, chat. All going on. Luckily, everybody making its way through that lap car very, very safely. I must say, chat, I got very scared there for a second as I was getting a little bit distracted myself, and that is Autosis finally getting around keepers for P number 7, and that's keepers unfortunately dropping down to P number 8. Ackerman is really finding pace here and really starting to find his way around the track. I'm getting myself confused once again. Not surprising there, shall we say, chat. We love to see it, don't we, chat? We love to see it. Me getting my little brain confused as we see Ackerman now get around Kelly for P6, and Kelly having a big moment then. Keeper saying, you know what, we'll go around the outside, and he gets the move done. Not wasting overtake happen, but boom, job done. He's back into P7. There you go. You could say as well, Ackerman's stealing the spotlight because he is absolutely on fire and setting lap time after lap time that he needs to do. And he is doing very good himself. And Kelly, oh no! Kelly has hit the barrier on pit entrance, it seems. That's going to be big damage to fix. Big damage. Not what you want to see. Oh my goodness. You know what, chat? I think we should call that stranded orange bollard. I think we're going to name it Bob. You know, who agrees with me, chat? I think Bob's a good name to name that orange bollard on the apex of turn 4. You know, it looks a little bit lonely, so I thought, you know what, let's give it a good name. We'll give it Bob as a name. Look at this though, Ackerman, true pace. Must love this circuit at Brands. He is 4 tenths now, going to be 3 tenths behind this driver. He is pushing to the limits that he needs to be pushing to get back to where he was after having that contact with that Nissan, making his way through turn 9 towards turn 1 once again. And he might go for a move at turn 2 and 3 because he is getting closer and closer and closer. Isn't close enough on the Porsche yet, but could get closer and go for a move because he's very good to be late on the brakes, as we know. There he is, there's Bob chilling in the background. We'll have to see it. There's Altosis giving the Porsche a little bit of a flash to try and distract him. The Porsche not barging yet. Late on the brakes, Altosis is around the outside, gets up into P5. Lovely stuff there. Now, to get to P4, it's a 10.4 second gap. So, could be a bit of an interesting one. Porsche though, car number 8, won't be happy with Ackerman getting around them for P5, so say gaps is really opening up now. Not much to happen with 35 minutes of racing to go. I mean, there's a gap here of 9 tenths between these two. So of course we could get a nice little battle brewing here. So we'll keep our eyes peeled to see what happens. Saying it though, it's opened up by 1.3. I mean, whilst it's quiet, we'll go on board with the stagecoach livery that Jake Spinner is using today here at Brands. And I must say, as I said at the beginning of the stream, it looks stellar, it looks fab. So let's talk about what races we have towards the end of season 9. So after this, we're heading to the lovely track of Red Bull Ring on the 4th of May, and that's going to be a 45-minute race in lovely, sparkling, dry conditions. And then we head towards Silverstone as a track that everybody must love, and that's on the 11th of May, a 60-minute race at night time. So very lovely, and that should be a lovely race to do and watch as well. We then have Zandvoort, 18th of May, 45 minutes of a very tricky, especially no overtaking zone. As some of you may or may not have watched the Formula 1 around there, you might have done the same. Overtaking in those cars is quite scary, so trying to see overtakes in GT3 cars, bit bigger, bit heavier. No ERS though, no DRS, but Could be more fun-packed action along the way for that one. And then we have the 25th of May, the season final. And that's going to be 120 minutes, 2 hours of the Norse Slife. Going to be lovely as we see Ackerman take a bit too much of the curb at turn number 7. Definitely too much there, but managing to keep the car under control. We now see 2 drivers peeling into the pit lane. That's Lucas into the pit lane and the Porsche as well. Car number 8 into the pits. They are doing their pit stop window, and we'll see where they peel out into the pit wise. Got aboard of our race leader. It's Oosby. Leading the way in the Ferrari. The Italian Stallions. If they keep it together for the next 32 minutes, they could be on for some very, very good points here. So as you can see now, Oosby about to lap a few drivers. As you can see, multiple drivers now peeling towards the pit lane. On board at Oosby, he's not boxed yet, but ahead of him is car number 999. Yet to peel into the pit lane. But hopefully into the pits very, very shortly. But for now, we're just playing a nice patient game and wait to see what happens. That's car 7, that's Jake Spinner, into the pits. And he'll be dropping the field quite substantially a bit. Now down to P11. Now leaving the pit lane. Go aboard of keepers. As we drive by Bob. How you doing, Bob? But you're well. And saying that, he's got 30 seconds towards his name. He's got to serve that before the end of the race. And also, big news, Jake Spinner, in P11, drive-through penalty. That is not what Jake wanted today around Brands Hatch. Definitely not ideal. He will definitely not be happy with that one. You see, keepers now into the pit lane. Frederick will make a position up to P8. Now the big question is, how are the tyres going to do? Because if people change tyres, if they not change tyres, keepers peeled into the pit lane and got to serve a stop and go 30 seconds. Jake Spinner serving their penalty. And they will actually find their way up into P11. Same position as they were beforehand. Could have been P10 if they didn't have a drive-through. There he is. The Nissan. Not ideal. MP8. You know. Not where he wants to be today. He has Julian behind him. And that's P2, so he could get lapped very, very shortly. Hopefully the Nissan can keep together and keep on track. Robin McQueen subbed at a tier 1, 7th month streak. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to stream. How are you, Webby? Hope you're doing fantastic. As Julian peels into the pit lane now to do this pit stop. That word I forgot. English not working. There he is, Julian. Into the pits. Service penalty, or not penalty. Service pit stop. More fuel. Maybe new tyres. Arc in P3. About what, 4.2 away from P2. Want to try and build that pace up a little bit more to try and get to where he is. SMH Webby. I don't know what quite to say about that. You'll be glad to know the Discord has not been burnt down. I've done a very good job so far. Don't you worry about that one. Yeah. It's all going well. I hope Silverstone's going well. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves as we see Ark get around a lapped car, and that will be Felzetti. Ark could try and get P2 from Canton, but the gap between them two is 4.2. See ya. Spinner having an up and down race. He was up in P9 after contact between Altosis and the Nissan. I can quickly show a race replay of what happened. Here you go. Heading towards turn 4. The Nissan trying to be late. Go for the move. Smacks Altosis instead. A nice little spin though. It was nice, you know. They were kind of in sync. So that was kind of nice to watch, to be honest. But yeah, Spinner was up in P9. I think he went off track and had a moment, so he dropped down to P12. And then he got past Keepers, because Keepers had a stop-go 30 seconds. Spinner had a drive-through, so advantage-wise, they got past Keepers because they were doing the 30 seconds, so they're now up into P11. So yeah, it's a bit of an up and down for Spinner. Forgot what I was going to say for a second there. But we're just waiting for the next on-track battle. That's all we're waiting for. We're on board at Ackerman. If he wants the podium today, he's got to close by quite a bit. And actually saying that, I don't think he's boxed yet. No, he's not stopped yet. So Canton peels into the pit lane, and that's Ackerman in a provisional P2, as Ark's done the same thing and boxed as well to do his mandatory pit stop. But yeah, Oh, Ackerman now. About to get around, I believe it's a lapped car, but instead he's going to peel into the pit lane and now serve his pit stop. So Ackerman chilling in the pit lane, Brown as well now peeling into the pits. Where's Ark? There's Ark there. Julian back into P2. He's boxed, hasn't he? Yeah, Julian's boxed. So with that boxing, Ark is back in P3 and Canton down in P4. He's got to close a 2.8 gap to get within P3 to take the podium away from Ark. So we'll see if that boils down to the last couple of laps. Ackerman, a solid P5 when re-entering onto the track. So there we go. After having a spin, which was Ackerman, down to P, or should I say almost last in this race, he's done a good aggression of pace-wise. Got himself into P5, he's now got, what, a 5-second gap to P4, and then P4 is 3 seconds away, so if Ackerman to keep it together for the next 20 minutes, and I think he'll be on for a very good result here. We'll just go on board with a few drivers and see and pray that something crazy happens this race. Canton surprisingly starting to close that gap down on Arc for P3, so these two could get quite close to the remaining few laps of racing. Of course, this is our closest on track battle at the moment. So we've actually gone on board at Arc. There he is. There's the gap wise between those two. Just see a little smidge of a car in a distance. That is Canton. So they're not separated by much. We're going uphill now towards turn 2. Be as best on the brakes as you possibly can be. Not have too many sketchy, hairy moments. But Canton really putting the foot down now. 1.8 is the gap between these two. Canton's really found some pace. He may have a set of new tyres on potentially, so if he does, then that will really help him out by a big amount. These two going wheel to wheel potentially very, very soon. Ackerman is just unable to find the pace because he's not catching. He's 5.2, 5.1 behind. So he could have serious damage, or if he's gone, oh, you know, I'm not going to change the tyres. So if he doesn't change his tyres, he could be a little bit slower than everyone else if, you know, if anybody else right now is on a fresh set of tyres, they'll be seen and dancing. Because look at Canton. He's now 1.4 behind Ark. He is really, really going for it. He wants his podium with 17 minutes of racing to go. He really wants it. He's not going to give up that fight. It's all firing on all 4 cylinders today. Oh, bit of a snap there for the man himself, Canton. In P4. Trying to, of course, chase down for P3. You know, chat, we will see how it goes, okay? It should be okay. It should be alright. With now Canton 1.4 behind still. Gaining on the straights seems to be his advantage at the moment. Straight line speed on the Ferrari seems to be doing him the best of both worlds, shall we say. 1.3 now, 1.4. That's where it's jumping around. 1.3, 1.2, 1.4. That's where it seems to be jumping. So we could see battles very, very shortly. It could be next lap or this lap. We're about to get the racing underway again with some battles on track because it's about to be below a second. Making their exit on turn 9 towards turn 1. Canton not far behind Ark now with a lapped car in front of the pair of them. Could that slow down Ark just a bit as that driver does go off track, rejoins, and that is Ark straight into the back of them. Oh my goodness. Drama here at the Brands Hatch circuit with 15 minutes to go. And that's Canton into an easy P3. Hello Bob, how you doing? But Ark down to P4. Big damage on the front of that Ferrari. Oh my good gosh. Let's have a look at that race replay. What on earth happened there? So we go on board with this driver. Look at the wing cam. So he goes off track, comes back on. Oh, he brakes. Why does he... Oh, he brakes. Because he brakes. What's his name? Ark has nowhere to go, but he's still keeping within a second of Canton. So these two could really play it out here. By keeping it nice and steady. Mr. Flynn's back. We're back. We're back, chat. We're here. 13 minutes to go. Drama unfolding. That lapped car could be a slam dunk penalty. And that could be Ackerman with a free position off P4. Because Canton's now making their way around turn number 7 towards turn number 8. He is starting to fall off the pace by quite a bit. To 11 minutes to go. Racing here at Brands. Ackerman in the background sets his eyes on Arc for a free position of P4. But Canton isn't far away from this. So if Ackerman keeps it calm and collected, he could get 2 positions out of this and regain a podium place of where he qualified, which would be P3, which I don't think he'll be too disappointed with. Where is he? There's Ackerman. He's in the background. He's fading. Not fading, but he's vaguely in the background. He's what? 1.1, flashing the lights, letting Arc know that he's there. So they're free to fight a wet circuit. We'll see how they get on. There is Ackerman in the background. He is charging for a race victory. Let's see what he can do, shall we? Heading to the seventh minute mark of this race. Ackerman, 4 tenths behind. He wants to get involved now. He wants to show that he is the one that is king of the castle. So on the run, down to turn number 1, we see Ackerman almost sniffing the rear wing of Arc for P4. Ackerman isn't going to go for a move just yet. If we go on board with Arc, which we are, and go on board with the wing cam, get a better view. And if you look to your left hand side or right hand side, you see Bob there chilling on the floor on the apex of turn number 4, which isn't an ideal place to be sitting. Ackerman going a little bit wide, but taking a better line by going wide, and gets quite a good exit off of turn 4 towards now turn at number 5 we go. He's getting a very good slip and a very good toe. Oh, what a beautiful defence there from Arc. Just can't slam dunk their car in the middle of the track. Ackerman looking to go for a move now. He's side by side with Arc, heading towards number exit 6 towards turn 7, and that's Ackerman up into P4. He's now got what? Canton, who is quite far up the road of 3.9. Not too sure if Ackerman could do it. He could do if Canton gets held up by this two lapped cars, which I think are actually fighting for position, and they are. It's Spinner versus Keepers. Heading into turn 1, these two side by side now, almost making slight contact, They need to know, they need to give way to this lap car as soon as possible. Spinner goes off track, pulls to the right hand side to give the position not up just yet, because these two still fighting it on track, and I'm not too sure they've realised there's a lap car behind, and their keeper's giving away to the lap car. Spinner needs to give way very, very shortly, or where he can in a safe position. He does that. He gives way to the lap car, back onto the racing line now to defend his P11 spot towards keepers. This could get spicy towards the end with 5 minutes to go. Let's see how they get on. This could really help Spinner, actually. If Spinner follows Canton's lines, gets a bit of a tow, he could actually pull away from keepers here, because the gap is what 5 tenths? It was 7 tenths heading into Sector 2. We're now obviously in Sector 3, and it's closing by some margin. But yeah. But there we go. Canton. Off he goes into the distance. And now it's keepers. Trying to fight this position back, but can't find a way around Jake Spinner at this moment of time. Jake Spinner doing some extortionate defending to keep that P11 for now. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, it's Altos. Is Altos getting around Spinner? Spinner losing out to keepers. It's getting very, very competitive now with 3 minutes racing to go. Carnage everywhere on the track. That Spinner once again getting past keepers for P11. They're brewing a nice little battle, these two are. Keepers on the inside trying to go for a move. Can't go anywhere though, because Spinner, excellent defending, plants the car in the right position. Oh, keepers goes off track though. Does rejoin, has to let arc through. Two minutes to go. Surprisingly, Ackerman trying to put pedal to the metal. P4 to P3, 3 seconds. This is the on-close action track battle we're going to get. Usby had a very strong race today. Not much more I can say about him. As what on earth happened there? Was there contact? Or did Spinner just lose the car? As keepers, gets a drive-through penalty. So that'll be Spinner back into P11. I'm not too sure if we can get a replay or what on earth just happened. I don't think we are. I am so confused on what earth happened there. Oosby about to cross the line very, very shortly for the final lap here of Brands Hatch. There's been a total of, it's going to be 39 laps completed by some of these drivers, doing 37 laps to 35 laps, heading towards 36 laps. Leads on the final lap, confirmed there by the little race guy who's obviously in the background saying this, saying that, saying a bit of everything, hoo-ha, if you know what I mean. And yeah, Spinner. What on earth happened there going into turn 4?
The pit window is closing now.
Carl's like, nah, mate, I'm just gonna spin around because I want to. Not ideal. It could have been contact, but of course, I'm not too sure. But it's the man, it's the myth, it's the legend. Making his way around turn 7 towards turn number 8. Okay. He's going to win the race here at the lovely circuit of Brands Hatch for round number 6. Dominant victory once again by Oosby around turn 9. Bit of a drift as he was trying to do. He'll cross the line to be a race winner at Brands. Julian will come home in a solid P2 as my game decides to freeze there. SMH and Canton able to just keep ahead of Ackerman, keep that gap alive, keep the pace alive. He'll come home in P3. Ackerman to cross the line in P4. Arc to finish in a lovely, comfortable P5, which, of course, having contact with that lap car, which I'm most likely sure will be looked at. It's got a bit of damage there on the front of the car. So, yeah, probably a big penalty coming one of the drivers' ways. Brown about to cross the line. He'll be finishing in P6 today. Lucas, not a great result for him, having contact with Ackerman, which results in him spinning round himself and Ackerman. The Porsche now coming out of turn number 8 towards the lovely corner itself of turn number 9. And then it'll be Falzetti, car number 37, in P9 to finish off the lovely grid here at ACC. That's going to be car 8 crossing the line, done and dusted. There's going to be Falzetti. Here he is. Good result, good race for him today. Both Aston Martins having a good race. One in P9, one in P6. Ackerman was close to getting P3, but unfortunately not having enough laps. Was closing down by quite a bit, but unfortunately not able to capitalise. That is it. We are done and dusted. We'll be back next weekend for a lovely circuit known as... I've completely forgotten because I am not smart. We did talk about it. It is going to be at the Red Bull Ring for 45 minutes on the 4th of May. Make sure to stay tuned for that one. I'll catch you in the next one. It's me, Mr. Flynn, signing off. Peace!
And it's going to be green light racing here at Monza. Here goes Noah. We're going to try and go wheel to wheel with the leader, Vic, once again. Back on the top step. We did say take it easy. Oh my goodness. Sinead's going to go for it here into 14, 15. Side by side, is it going to be Mercedes or is it going to be a BMW?